Previously on building Benny's movie park. Well, it's definitely drawing more people here, that is for sure. So let's go over here and pop in a bunch of arches, something like this. That is very, very big. Also, some bases at the foot of these little pillars seems a nice touch. Very, very nice. And I'm also noticing we probably need some of these lights I made on this wall as well. And gentlemen, welcome back to this brand new episode of building Benny's movie park in Planet Coaster. Today we're gonna have a big change of plans. To be fair, the plan hasn't changed that much. It's just the order of which I'm gonna do everything in. I did say I was gonna build Endor over here, which instead is now going to be, you guessed it, Back to the Future. The original movie park 2 already had this kind of landscape in it, and I thought this could be a decent spot. It's even in the same area as the original park, which is pretty fun. So I would say, without any further ado, let's get straight to it. There is going to be one major difference between the original one and this one. As you know, the original area had a corkscrew coaster in the boomerang layout. This time, however, I think we can do something a little bit more fitting in the form of a hydraulic launch coaster. Is it this one though? Wait a minute. No, it's this one. Yes, so that is the idea. It will be a super fast launch, a super high top hat. And instead of going just straight back to the station, at least we can do a little bit of a layout, but that's going to be the basic idea. Then additionally, I thought, why don't we put the station underneath the train station? Because if we just turn this into the Courthouse building, and then this is going to be Courthouse Square, that could actually make a lot of sense. Because of course, as you suspected, this is completely empty. Wait for it. Here you go. There's literally nothing in here. There's plenty of room. Though actually, this does seem a bit cramped, doesn't it? It would have to be somewhere here, and then it's going to be in the way of the staircase. Actually, wait a second. I think for once, because the layout of the area is actually such a big part of this whole thing, we should start with that. I still want to have the courthouse over here, so let's start attached to this other building and simply make the basic shape. Here we've got all the openings for the windows. All of that sure as hell has to be a lot more brownish and less red. Here you go. Seems pretty accurate already. And at the top here we need a plaster edge, or at least something that looks like plaster, going all the way to the other side. Now we're just gonna fill all of this up, of course. Same goes for down here, actually, I just noticed. The cool thing about this building, on this side, we can make it look like a pirate building, and then the front would be Back to the Future. So I hope both areas will still be relatively immersive, besides, of course, that and the tower. So then on the front here, this sticks out quite a bit. So let's do that here as well. Perfect. And to be fair, this is more about the layout, like I just said. So we don't need to add all the details for now. It's just the basic shape of the building. And then here, that is going to be ground level. Inside of this building, we can most definitely pop some of these path squares. And of course, that doesn't fit. What? Wait, actually, no, that's fine. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't need to be doing this yet, but I am somehow. Look. And then if my calculations are correct, we can simply do this. Perfect. That's the stairway. Then I don't know what this is going to be, but it's not going to be the weird old texture. So let's for now just do this. Always a very safe option. And then this means we can start making the walkable path layout. So let's see. It's definitely going to go until here. That connects to the entrance. And in the middle of the square, of course, is going to be the water again. This is, again, going to be the future version of the Courthouse Square. It's just a bit more colorful. It's a bit cooler. And I love the second movie. So, well, what I've also just realized is this, of course, needs to be asphalt because it's a road. So let's go and paint this something like that. It's not the nicest texture. It's definitely a bit wonky, especially from afar, but I guess some decoration will fix that. The color of these sidewalks I'm making now is definitely temporary. I actually have no idea what that should be. We don't have that many options, so I think we're gonna have to go custom for that. Then for the water, let's start creating a sort of bottle shape. There's a bit of space on the right still. Something along the lines of this, I think, but that needs a lot of work, of course. First off, let's pop in some water. Can we go higher, or is that... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh my god. No, I think this is the highest we can go, which is fine. We're gonna have to trust the process. First off, underneath the water definitely has to be rock, because that just looks a bit more natural. Although this is looking pretty dark, I feel like that's not ideal either. Let's do it a bit more subtly instead, like so. That seems a lot nicer. Yes, the edges, it really does have to be rock. And then using actual rock pieces, we can enhance that in just a minute. Once again though, I'm not supposed to be doing this. This is just the layout. Focus, Benjamin, focus. So this is then going to be the square. Let me just finish the sidewalk here as well, so everything is nice and covered up there. And then, yeah, around this entire square are going to be a bunch of buildings, obviously. But then I think we can put the coaster in place. Instead of the courthouse, somewhere along the side here could also work. You'll see why in just a sec. Say we put it here. I'm actually going to start on the back side. What if this is a sort of brake run? There you go, block brakes. We can extend that a bit further. And then here, the main brake run is going to be inside the courthouse. If at least I can somehow make that fit. Look, and then this is going to be the main block brake. A little bit longer per chance. And then we simply go... well, I have no idea what this is going to be like, but you get the idea. So then that is going to be the end of the ride. And I think that could work really well, especially considering this building is going to be slightly higher anyway. Just make an entrance in here. I think this has potential. In fact, aren't these pieces just freaking... Okay, almost. Maybe if we make that a little bit higher. Oh my god, that is perfect. I would say it's almost like these are made for it, but I do think they actually are. Usually they're supposed to be for the station, but it's basically the same thing. As for the colors, by the way, for now I'll stick to white. I don't think it's gonna stay white, but I kind of like white coasters, so for now it'll stay this. Of course, all of this is gonna be surrounded by a bunch of buildings, a big station building perhaps. So yeah, then the moment of truth. Actually building the coaster, so let's get straight to it. Okay, so as you can see, I put down a bunch of placeholder buildings to make sure at least there's room for those. Then let's go and click on this first part. Then let's have a look. Where are we gonna go? At first, we definitely want to go straight with maybe a turn towards the left, leading you inside a building that could be standing here. Then we're gonna go straight again. And this is then leading you to the first launch. Probably the only launch. Let's have a look. Hydraulic launch. I have never built one of those. I have no idea how long these usually are supposed to be. But say we did this, which is not ridiculously long, I think. And then here we're gonna have to go slowly up 90 degrees. Pop that in. Then this is gonna need a lot of testing, by the way. And also how high? Like, So this is when it has to turn... that much? Yes? Wait a minute. Huh? No. No, it is not supposed to do that. It is supposed to... Wait, what? Hold on. What the hell? How the hell am I supposed to go this way then? What? Dude, that is super weird. What the hell? Is that it? I am extremely skeptical, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think this is gonna work. It doesn't usually have a perfectly round shape. It's a bit more oval. But let's first test this, because I have no idea if any of this even works in the first place. So let's go ahead, sit inside and have a look if the launch makes it to the top or if it's way too fast. There's only one way to find out. Let's have a look. Oh, see that? Oh! Do you reckon that's a bit fast? So as you can probably tell, it is a little bit too quick. Oh my god. Not gonna lie though, the height seems cool. Like it's not ridiculously high, but it still looks cool on the skyline. Meaning the launch is just a little bit too fast, I think, or too long. But I don't think it doesn't look too long. I feel like these always kind of are. Yeah, so this is way too high. Oh my god. Let's try something like this instead. And the acceleration also does not need to be this fast. Okay, let's try again. Go. And go. That's already pretty damn fast, to be fair. But this seems... Yo! Wait, that's it. I mean, I of course haven't really... yeah, this is not looking great. Okay, so this is actually a much bigger pain than I thought it was going to. But look, this is starting to look a bit... Oh my... Man, I don't know. It's a bit of a stinker, this, but let's have a look if we can somehow finish this off.
Eventually.
Guys, I have just done something, and I am very, very happy with it. The thing itself isn't that special. It does exactly what you expect. It goes to the launch, and it goes up, and it actually makes it in decent speed this time, as you can tell. Beautiful. However, the great thing about this, if we go into the launch settings, you can see the target speed is 88 miles an hour, which, if you don't know yet, that's exactly the speed at which the DeLorean was supposed to go to be able to, you know, go into the future or the past.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
So that is such a subtle but beautiful Easter egg. I love it. Like that. It's beautiful. However, I'm pretty sure that the part after this looks idiotic as hell, so we definitely need to smooth this out. Especially the part here where it goes down is very, very Wait, what? What does that mean? I mean, you can tell this this is pretty rough. Maybe if we extend it a little bit further like that, and then this part as well. It's very strange building the coasters this way, because for some reason it just kind of, you know, goes a completely different way than you think it's gonna go. However, I'm pretty sure that for some reason, somehow, this might have potential. This just really does not look very smooth, but I guess we're gonna have to see what we can do. I'm still not a master coaster builder, as you know. Look, for example, this. Why can't it do that? That makes no sense. I haven't actually sat inside, so I don't know how bad it really is. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure it's bad, but let's just see. So the start is really quite good, but then this... to be fair, it is not terrible, but it's also definitely not great. Why don't we just start twisting here already? Or is that a bit too fast? Properly going into that first turn. What happens, by the way, if I just select this whole part and just smooth that very strongly, like so? Did I just ruin it, or did that actually fix it? That definitely did not fix it. Okay, so now I have smoothed it out a lot, like pretty sure it's like 10. So let's see what that looks like now. Oh, that is a lot better. It's still just weird. Like that looks very weird, right? Like that is just not right. Even if it is smooth, that's just dumb. Yeah, no, let's not do that. Instead, let's go ahead and try the more basic, just straight down version like this. Does that look good? Oh, that looks really good. Let's pray it still is when I sit inside. Then of course we need the rest of the layout, and I'm not really sure what to do for that. I'm guessing just a few really big hills. It's gonna be kind of a mixture of a hyper coaster and an hydraulic launch coaster. I think that could be a cool little thing. Yeah, I'm just gonna work on this for a bit, see what layout I can cook up, and then I'll be right back with you.
3 days later.
Ladies and gentlemen, cooking has occurred. Even though it's rather short, I still do think this is a really solid little layout. And I can go and yap about how cool it is, but also I can just show you. So let's have a look. It's running with 2 trains at the same time, which is decent for a coaster like this. Yes, that's the coaster. There are 2 things that I definitely want to do today to enhance this already. One of them is the supports for the top hat. Of course, this has very custom supports, very cool looking supports, so I think we should do that. I also want to try and turn the train into the DeLorean, which is probably going to be tricky, we'll try anyway. And that reminds me, it's funny, in this park, we've already got 3 coasters that are based on a car. Then, of course, there's the Ford Explorer for Jurassic Park, but we also have the Harry Potter flying car. So it's funny. Cars seems to be a recurring theme. So anyway, let's first do the supports. We'll begin by going to the supports tab. Over here we have a bunch of different pieces. I am guessing we're gonna need the thickest one, this right here. And using those, we quite simply have to build a few really tall poles. You probably know how much I love poles from my previous series. First, let's start with the base ones, which means probably 3. This one has to be aligned with the middle of the track. Is that the middle? I think it more or less is. Okay, so now we have 3. The one in the middle needs to be extended to about here, I think, and slightly tilted. The only question is how much. I think this is not even that bad. Then next, I'll already put some of the horizontal ones in place, just like so. The only real question is, does the coaster still fit? It does fit, it's just not very nice, but it does fit, so I guess we can just keep it like this for now. The one in the middle, by the way, is actually supposed to be a maintenance ladder, so let's go and pop that in place as well. The horizontal beams also have to connect to the thick one at the end, and that's gonna be tricky because they're all at a different angle, so you know. By the way, for the nerds wondering, I'm using Red Force as reference, which is practically the exact same thing, except a much less fun layout. Then we need a lot, and I mean a lot, of connector pieces. And by that, I of course mean this kind of thing, making it look like these are separate metal parts. The first few ones we can just copy over to each single beam, and then the diagonal ones are going to be a bit more tricky. We're going to have to do those individually, just by popping one in on every single beam, just like this. The thick poles need the exact same sort of thing, except these are called flanges. Looks pretty much identical though, so immediately makes it look so much better. However, I mean, just look at this. Immediately looks industrial, nice metal. Unfortunately, however, that's not all. We also need diagonal ones on the front here, which luckily is just as easy as the rest. It's just quite some work. For these goes the same connector pieces again. For once, it seems the weird axes glitch is in my favor because I can just copy these down in a straight line. It's crazy. At the very top, by the way, we need some more diagonal ones that all come together in the center of this structure. Then the platform at the very top, we should probably make using what's called a support platform, because it's a platform for supports. It's incredible, I know. Only question is, how exactly is this gonna work? Maybe let's do 2 instead of 1. And the supports below have to stop right at the top. Only thing is this. How are we gonna... Wait a minute. We'll just do it like this instead. Thankfully, we have a ton of these very cool looking metal pieces to finish this off on the sides. Do we need some fences on here? Probably. Do we have some in this tab by any chance? I think this design is fine, actually. I hope the train still fits next to that. I think we should be good. Let's have a look, actually. Oh yeah, that is fine. Okay, so that is a pretty sweet looking platform. Then what else do we need? Of course, all the way down here, we need the actual supports, like the footers. support. The footers, ladies and gentlemen. Let's pop these babies in here. And then I think that is a large chunk of the work already. Technically, we also need the diagonal ones in between these squares, like this. Are we gonna do that? I guess we are.
2,000 years later.
There you go. All done. It actually looks significantly better this way. That it is true. But now we still need to connect the actual track to this. I think we can simply do that using the exact same techniques. Because of the angles here, it's definitely gonna be tricky, but I think, I mean, that's okay, I guess. And then down here, it's a lot simpler. Simply grab one of these and connect it straight to the track. That same thing has to be done for every single part of this track. And right here, it actually fits absolutely perfectly. At the very top here, I'm gonna do a very similar thing. It looks a bit wonky, probably not very realistic, but it looks fine. And I just realized at the very bottom, of course, we also need some additional supports. to create this kind of thing we've got going on here. And arguably, these parts are the most important because this is where the G-forces are the highest. The train gets really pushed into the track, so this definitely needs a lot of reinforcement. At least that bit of realism we can add, we will add. Look just how much cooler this immediately looks. It is so imposing all of a sudden. I really love that. And I think the coaster still fits through perfectly. Yes, also quite important. By the way, this tree, I can select it, but I can't delete it. It is... I've used the demolish tool, I've tried everything, I cannot delete this tree. I think because it crosses this line here, it is so tedious, but I can't remove it. So this is gonna have to be a forest or something back here. Same, by the way, goes for this one. Same exact thing. I cannot delete these trees. But to be fair, for my own sanity, it's probably a better idea to turn this into a forest anyway, because otherwise it's just way too crazy. The launch is going to be the area they first tested the car at, and everything else is just going to be, whatever. Now that brings us to the part where we have to decorate the train itself, so let's get to it. Okay, so here we are at the train. Let's attach scenery. Let's begin with the wheels. These racing wheels are most definitely the only fair option. Important to keep in mind, the wheels can be pretty high because the seats are also pretty high. So we don't really need to be that scared of that. This way they just kind of go over the station like so. Let's also go here and do symmetry so it's on both sides. And then... yeah, let's have a look. What can we do here? This seems a good spot for the second wheel. And unfortunately, the car parts we do have don't really fit in any way. This is clearly a race car. The DeLorean is not a race car, or at least not one of these. I'm hoping the science fiction theme has some usable parts. Let's have a look. This could be the front of the car. Is this nice? It is a similar shape at least. Should probably be a little bit flatter though. This works, at least sort of, for the headlights. And then do we have some sort of nice part for the grille? If this was a bit smaller, that would have fit as well. I can already tell this is going to be a massive pain. I'm already getting so triggered by just not knowing the pieces that exist. There is too much stuff. I'm just saying it. There's too much stuff. That was kind of the freedom of Theme Park Tycoon 2. Is you had primitives and you had to make everything yourself. These lights I like a lot more, also because they're actual lights this time. Let's make the surroundings black and add two next to each other like so. For the fenders, I'm once again using the letter C because it actually is the closest thing to that shape. But everything, I'm just not sure about any of this, man. It is just a little bit strange. On the side here, at least, let's pop in some panels to finish that car shape. Also, the colors definitely need fixing. Let's make this a bit lighter. There you go. That's a lot better. Yeah. And that dark edge beneath seems like a nice detail as well. A few of these cables is also a very nice and accurate detail. So let's go and try this and see what happens. I think for the front, this isn't even that bad. Maybe a windshield could help. Once again, very, very similar to what I did over at the Harry Potter roller coaster. I think this is decent. I really don't see how else this could be improved. Then let's go to the back. That definitely does need some work. Now, even though this doesn't look identical to the exhausts of the DeLorean, I do think it will suffice. We simply don't have those kind of pieces in the game, and I have no idea how to make that from scratch. Here, let's first try the base shape and then enhance it in a sec. I am really not sure about this. What I do know is it needs some backlights. First of all, some orange ones on the sides, and then on the inside, some red ones. It's just really now that I'm noticing how limited some of these pieces are. There's just not that much to go off of. So a lot of this is just a big mess, and I'm hoping it's not too apparent in the end. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's not awful. It's just strange. Like, what we do, of course, need, by the way, is the wheels. I almost forgot. Those we do need on every single car. And there you have it. So I do think it looks good from the front, at least. The back side is questionable. It has the same vibe, though. That is important. There is just one little problem, or at least some sort of weird thing. Of course, the front part is a separate piece to the rest of the train. As you can tell, this is now bent. We are just going to pretend like that is rubber or something that can kind of curve along with the train. So there you have it. It looks too good not to use this, so I'm just gonna stick with this. I really do actually like this. This looks decent. It does really look from the side like the DeLorean. That's pretty crazy, actually. And there it goes. Let's see it go on this top part. I'm actually quite happy with this. Could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. But with that, I do think today's episode is pretty much concluded. It's a bit short, maybe. I'm not sure, really. But point is, this is more of a blueprint of what's to come in this area, which is hopefully going to look very, very nice. A lot better than the original one in Movie Park 2. I can't wait to see. But for today, that is it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell not to miss a single future video. And then I hope I'll see you in the next one.